Good evening, friends. Welcome to the Leader's Edge, Episode 1, Season.
Everyone, and welcome to our weekly webcast called The Leader's Edge. We are here tonight.
Welcome to episode number 7, Season
Leader's Edge. And in our show today, which is Season 6,
Leader's Edge, Season 3, Episode 10. And
I'm Nelson T. Welcome to this super special episode of The Leader's Edge.
And this is episode 8 of season 6.
Hey guys, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world.
We are now on our season 6, episode 2. And tonight, we have an amazing and a wonderful
good day. Welcome to Season 7, Episode 6, called Happiness in the Pursuit of Success. And our wonderful guest today is Ray Lucero, also known as Ray Caballo Lucero. She is one of the original members of the Mabuhay Singers. Some of their members later on went to become soloists like Sally Bautista, Ray Lucero herself, Naning Alba, and the late Rene Evangelista, among many others. The group was formed when the Villar Recording Company encouraged them to merge with another group because they were part of two groups. One was Tres Rosas, where Ray Lucero is a member of, together with Carmen Camacho, Nora Hermosa, and of course, the Lovers Trio, composed of Chilo Serio, Floro San Juan, and Ador Torres. Later on, Filipino singers like Ruben Tagalog, Sally Bautista, Flora Campo, Noel Samonte, Betty Rivera, Phil Llamas, Robert Malaga, and Everlita Rivera joined the group, but briefly. They will also be joined later by what they would like to call friends of the Mabuhay Singers, such as Ronnie Santa Maria, and even for a while, my wife, Elaine Santos. The Mabuhay Singers recorded more than 100 albums. Some were released internationally, and the albums contained traditional and modern Filipino music and in major languages of the Philippines. Some songs in English and Spanish were sung, others in Ilocano, Cebuano. And in 1973, the Philippine Records Association awarded a citation for the group for their best-selling albums. The Christmas song Mano Po Ninong, Mano Po Ninang, co-written by Torres, was recorded by the group. So, ladies and gentlemen, due to the nature of this topic and its uniqueness, I'd like to let you know in advance that during the recording of it, there were issues with microphones, there were issues with internet stability. So I do request your indulgence for the rest of this recording, of this interview, because in many ways, the ebullience, the effervescence of Ray Lucero came through, but not necessarily her voice. And so to let you know what she really sounded like, I will be sharing with you some footage from recordings that I made of her when she sang during a birthday party. And this is to avoid any copyright infringement issues if we take it from anywhere else. So for today, let's welcome and enjoy the performance of Ray Lucero.
Nadarama ito, ligayang hindi mapapalisan. Bakit ang tintig niya rin aking puso ay tumitigil pag di ka natanaw? Bakit hindi mapalagay kapag di ka dumarating? Bakit ako nasasaktan kapag mayroong naririnig?
Bakit ikaw ang minahal? Bakit ikaw ang kailangan ng aking buhay? Bakit ikaw mahal? Bakit ikaw ba ang hinahanap ko? Bakit ikaw ba ang hinihintay ko? Bakit ikaw ba ang iniisip ko? Bakit ikaw ba ang minahal ko? Bakit sa'yo ko nadarama ito? Ligayang hindi mapaparisan. Bakit ang pintig niya'y aking puso ay tumitigil? Ba't di ka natanaw? Bakit hindi mapalagay kapag di ka dumarating? Bakit ako nasasaktan kapag mayroong nanirinig? Bakit ikaw ang minahal? Bakit ikaw ang kailangan ng aking buhay? Bakit ikaw mahal? Bakit ikaw? Bakit ikaw mahal? En España, bendita tierra.
I'd like for us to all welcome to the virtual stage, Mami Ray Lucero. Mami Ray?
I'm so glad you invited me, and I'm so proud that you invited me.
My pleasure, Mami Ray. Now, for those who may not have met Mami Ray before, although that's doubtful because her career spans not just years but decades. Mami Ray belongs to a world-class, world-known singing group called the Mabuhay Singers. This is a cultural group, cultural singing group that specializes in Kundimans, and not just English, but in local dialects as well, Ilocano, Cebuano, and even in Spanish. She can sing songs in Spanish. So, Mami Ray, as always, no, let's begin at the beginning. In other words, how young were you when you realized that singing was what you wanted to do? Could you take us on a journey to the beginning?
Dear Dino, I realized I had this passion when I was 5 years old.
5.
Yeah.
Wow. And then how did it happen? Did you hear a song on the radio? Were you invited to sing at, say, a party or somebody's birthday?
My parents were Catholicistas, and I was child in all the Catholics that my mother did. She wrote stories and put Catholic, and we performed in so many different towns in the city. Since I was
Wow.
5.
Okay. So the interesting point in this particular episode is that unlike most people who will talk to us about their life stories and their road to success as being a lot of sacrifices, a lot of hardships, yours is unique in that you love what you do. Singing and music are inseparable from who you are. It's you as a person. Um, would you characterize your journey through life and your journey through songs and music as a hardship? Was it at all something that was plagued with regrets or say questions?
No, not at all. No, no. But I did not think that I would be in this business.
Mm.
I did not know because I know music is not very lucrative, you know. And well, that's a plan probably because that's plan. That's when I came here. My parents wanted me to be a nurse, but when I arrived here, I started enrolling, and then my father uh, sent me a telegram telling me to stop the enrollment and go into enroll now into a conservatory music. So
Wow.
unbelievable, really.
So
And so I went to University of the Philippines and enrolled in the conservatory music. That was 1960.
okay, so I guess one of the key differences in your life is that your family was very supportive of your initiatives. Um, you were allowed to pursue additional training and learning in school, in the university. Um, 1958, that's almost like a lifetime ago. Um, when you were studying music, when you were learning, um, what was it like for you? Because I'm sure, back in that era, um, hindi pa kasi digital, in other words, there was no Google, there was no internet. I'm sure you learned from, say, somebody on a piano, helping you read notes and then coaching you as far as your voice is concerned. Tell us a bit about that.
And I cannot even explain it because I was shocked. I was shocked. I did not realize I was in the conservatory music. You know. And but then I was able to go back
Mm.
to the factory, the nervousness, and I was able to. I was lucky enough.
Mm.
And luckily, I got my scholarship.
Oh.
Uh, University.
Mm.
So
Wow. So,
that's the reason why they think that what my parents just wanted to take this course because it's so expensive. And
oh,
I understood that it was expensive. So well, it was good. I had I was in the when I was in high school. I graduated with honors. That's
mm.
why I
Wow. So in a way, even at an early age, you were blessed, by supportive people, by a school that was willing to grant you a scholarship. Because my own journey was also a supportive one, where my mother supported my desire to learn painting from the University of the Philippines, College of Fine Arts. What was funny though was that while my mother was supportive, uh, people in the university were saying, "Ay nako, don't go into painting because painters starve. It doesn't pay well. Go into advertising or visual communications." Um, did you hear stuff like that from your end as
was better for music. So, but it's good, it was good that my parents were very musical. They were so, so musical. That's why they supported me now.
Mm. And yet, as you shared previously, there were 13 of you in the family. I mean, that is a big, big family. Huge.
Yeah, that everybody was singing.
Mm.
Everybody.
Oh my goodness. So like you had like a built-in choir in your own home.
Yes, yes. But then singing music is value. They prefer even if they're only a secretary or whatever, as long as you are not a musician, because there's no money there.
Mm.
They think there's no money there. They think they find music so well, but it was my passion, that's why I was so happy.
Mm.
Money or not, I'm happy.
Yeah, because that's where your passion was, no? Um, I, I remember my grandmother, who was a coloratura soprano, was telling me that had it not been for World War II, she would have gone on tour to Germany as part of a singing group. But the war changed all that. And that's when she met my grandfather, who at the time was a major in the Philippine Army. Which leads me to my next question. How did you meet the love of your life? Because I know he was such a big influence in your craft, in your singing.
When I became a recording artist, I was open. I had many offers to sing in openings of restaurants, opening over the stuff like that. And one time, there was a restaurant, an opening of a restaurant there in Santa Cruz, and he was the house band. My husband was the house band. And I was the guest singer. I had my own pianist, Lucero also, Lucero also from Cebu, my classmate. And then we got to know each other. With the Tito Adon, Milo. And he was, to me, he was so good. Even when you are singing and you're playing that your song is too high or too low, you can help him anytime to lower it or raise it.
Oh. In other words, he was willing to adapt to your pitch and to make sure that you sounded good. So in some ways, you could say the two of you were complementing each other.
It was my first time to meet a person who can accompany me in any key.
Wow. So Mami Ray, was it love at first sight, or did he sort of like grow on you?
I have to be honest with you. And he is and always know right music.
Oh, okay. Mhm. And yet, a lifelong relationship between the two of you was the net result. And it's wonderful because I know that even your kids are into music. They,
But
yeah.
and to be honest with you, you know, I did not want not one of my children to be a musician because I know how hard it is
Yeah.
to be a musician.
Mm.
Money wise.
Mhm.
Okay. And much as I wanted them to, I brought them back and forth to their schools so that they will concentrate on their studies. Oh my God, they became all musicians. But I cannot do anything. I cannot stop them anymore.
Yeah.
They are here. I have one who is an accountant. He is in Florida. But my God, he was only 8 years old when he was performing in many concerts. He was 8 years old.
Mhm. So in other words, the genetic heritage was there because starting from your family, who was all into music and singing, and then later on you would meet your love of your life, who was also such a great pianist. It's no surprise that your children all became lovers of music and melody. You know, sabi nga nila, love and marriage, they go together like a horse and a carriage. um, yeah. Let me ask you, Mami Ray, because before the Mabuhay Singers, there was Tres Rosas, which was your original group. How did that come to be?
First of all, I want to tell you how I was discovered as a singer. Somebody, actually, Greg Kundiman, invited me to sing and record Lower Camping single. And we did our recording in a studio there at Porta, the Villa Recording. And while I was recording, the owner of the studio came down and heard me sing Ilocano version of the jingle. And he had been looking for an Ilocano singer. My God. Right there.
I see. Yeah. So because of that, the group was formed, no? Who was
Yes.
who were the original members?
The Tres Rosas. The
Yeah.
Tres Rosas first. Carmen Camacho from Bicol.
Okay.
Dino Hermosisima.
Okay.
And then Lovers Trio, Flo Someone, Chief Lucero, and Adore God.
Hmm.
And it was the owner was very curious that what will be the outcome if we sing together, 6 of us. And we did. And we were blended.
Oh,
And
I see.
he recorded it right away and got the lowest disco. First time.
Wow. Um, what is awesome to me though is that though you and your groups achieved so much, that so little has been written about it in places like Wikipedia, for example. But I know that there is a Facebook account for the Mabuhay Singers because I can see announcements there for coming performances or for broadcasts. No, so um, I'm curious. Would you still remember who were the original and then succeeding members of the Mabuhay Singers? In other words, part of me is very curious because I know that some weren't really members but were like friends of the Mabuhay Singers. So who were official members of the group?
Tres Rosas and the Lovers Trio.
Okay.
That's the official.
Mm.
dancing that one has to go. One after the other. So we had to change the members were. And Ruben Tagalog was became a member of it. Ruben Tagalog, Don David. You know Don David?
Not so much.
Yeah. Lolita Gregorian Alfred La Rosa. And yung Alba Robert Malaga.
Okay. There came a point where your passion became recognized and it started to pay off. In other words, you were getting gigs left and right. Am I right in saying that the Mabuhay Singers eventually recorded more than 100 albums? Oh my goodness. Yeah. Achievement yon kasi you know, it's a legacy to be able to sing and perform Filipino Kundiman songs, especially those that may not even be that popular, but are certainly part of our culture. Let me ask, could you describe in your own words how Kundiman somehow manages to cross the divide between generations? Because I certainly have witnessed your performances, your group's performances at places like Fort Santiago's Clamshell, to watch grandparents, their apos, their grandchildren, and then their children all somehow respond with a smile, with loud applause. What is the secret of Kundiman that it somehow seems to bridge generations and unite people together? I mean, I've never seen that happen.
Well, not before I say something about before I describe Kundiman, I have to tell you that Kundiman, we have that few Kundiman. People think that all Filipino songs are Kundiman. No. No. So we like Madaling Araw, Nasaan Sa Ilog, First Slow, like that. There are balitaws that's different from Kundiman. Balitaws. So that's why we want to educate the people. We have a program on the Facebook that will educate people. The Plaka. Have you heard of that? Plaka. Then they record, they play the records. The big ones, the big, not CD, not tape. It's big.
Yeah, the vinyl records, long playing.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that, I began singing in that kind of that. And we are thinking of it's our dream to educate people. Kahit paano, kahit kung ano man ang may tutulong namin to educate them, the differences of Filipino songs. It's not all Tagalog songs are easy.
So thank you for the differentiation, because you're right. No, there is a difference between what we might call pop music, and then Kundiman music, and of course, even what we call OPM, original Filipino music, uh, which is still largely based on US models for their tempo, their durations, their melodies. Kundiman is a unique style all to itself. Hmm. Yeah. Are there people who made your journey along the way more pleasant, more joyful? In other words, those you would like to recognize and give credit to, that somehow added to the joy, that the happiness that you felt.
That surprises me that you know, because I have I've met small children and they love to listen to Kundiman. They don't know what is Kundiman, but it just gets into their ears and they love it. They love it.
You know what?
It's my dream, you know, na makagawa kami ng mga young generations na mga parang mabuhay sila. If only I have, I really want to do that.
Is it possible that one of the reasons why Kundiman is so positive and so lighthearted is that we associate it somehow with, say, social events like fiestas or say feasts? Because in my case, when I hear a Kundiman song playing, I automatically start to feel hungry. You know, I kind of like to eat when I hear Kundiman music. I don't know why that is, but I associate the joyfulness, the festiveness of the music form with food.
It's a different thing. I could not explain what. But, I just feel,
Yeah.
not like, you know, I can explain it.
Although, am I right in saying that there are some versions of Kundiman that are essentially used for, in Tagalog we say panliligaw or panunuyo, that there are some songs, yeah, right. Yeah, so like,
Love song, it can be malungkot, anumanay.
So it has a very so it has a very strong legato flow to it. In other words, with few exceptions, like for example, that song where you introduce it as you're going to do a rap, because that one, well, it's not really a rap, but it's almost staccato in its approach, but it's still Kundiman.
No, I have to reject that. It cannot be staccato. Always malumanay and then it is nasaan sa limog at dagulaan pag-ibig. Hindi ba kasulpamin ako'y
Wow.
The sentiment is there right away. It gives you, you can look forward to what are the next.
I can also sense that what you're saying is that Kundiman is a much more emphatic musical form because it is able to touch the heart. It allows you to express yourself in a more heartfelt, more sincere way. And because I think, for example, of and this is not to put down pop music, you know, but like for example, we may hear the Beatles sing "A Ticket to Ride," which is a song about a man who was left by his partner, and he should be sad, but yet he's singing, "I think I'm gonna be sad. I think it's today, yeah. The girl who's driving me mad is going away, yeah." Um, that makes me conflicted because he's singing about something very sad, but he sounds so happy. I don't understand that.
Exactly.
Yeah, but in Kundiman, when you sing about brokenness, when you sing about loneliness, uh, it does sound lonely. It does sound like you're really broken. You know, uh, is that one of the hallmarks of Kundiman, that the intent of the author, the one who wrote the song, and the way that it is composed and say arranged, allows it to be faithful to the emotions that is intended for the song. Mm. Mommy Ray,
Oh, how would you say? I
okay.
like it because you smile, but then the way you speak, the way you express your words, uh, you have to show it in your face
Mm.
and the beat.
So I can see that your sense of happiness from following your passion didn't just come because success followed later on, and then all those gigs, all those albums, and of course all the royalties, right? But because at its essence, Kundiman is about cheerfulness, about the resiliency of the Filipino spirit through song, right? Yeah. I mean, one of the things that personally observed in you is that though you lost the love of your life, and I know how devastating that was for you, uh, the music, the passion allowed you to go on, to endure. Um, am I right in having said that your love of music allows you to find meaning with every morning that when you wake up? Uh, because I know you're still doing coaching, right? You're coaching people to sing. Mhm.
I nagpunta ako sa nagpunta ako sa teaching for a long, I did teaching for a long time. And I just tried it. I just tried it. If I can, tinitingnan ko kung I have fulfillment, fulfillment. To find people na mga bata o kung lumalaki o matatanda na meron passion din sa music, just like me. And I found fulfillment. I love teaching. I love teaching.
Indeed. I can also validate the fact that your love for your craft is so intense that you didn't mind the long hours it took to record or it took to broadcast. Because I remember the times when I brought Elaine to some of your broadcasts at the government radio station, and sometimes that's in the early hours of the morning already, and never did I hear a word of complaint from Elaine or from you or from anybody. Uh,
You mentioned the name. Elaine, nag-study lang si Elaine. But she has a good voice and she has that passion.
yes, she
And kung
does.
hinayang,
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
yes, very nice.
That's true. You know, during this pandemic, we have ordinances that say no sing along past a certain time. But you know, when she sings out loud, and then the neighbors hear her singing, there's nobody complaining because they love the way that she sings Kundiman songs, love songs. And I know that it's one of your greatest desires to have her take her craft more seriously and develop it. Um, and I know that for a time she became one of the friends of Mabuhay Singers.
And for the longest time, we love it. We love it.
Mhm.
We love it.
Yeah.
Like
Uh,
every time you sit in the house, you you wait for a song to be thrown into your house.
mm.
Uh,
Yeah, I'm curious, Mami Ray. Yeah, I'm curious, Mami Ray. I know that Erap became such a fan of your singing of the group that he even gave you an owner type Jeep. Um, how enamored did he become with Kundiman? Could you tell us about how he fell in love with the music?
it was also a wonderful day back in town.
Okay.
And they are, they are, they love music, both of them, both of them. In fact, my son, Tommy, he works with Anna. Last night,
Wow. So
that's, but it was my husband, yung Tito Odon, Kabaylo, who was the musician. Personally, yan.
Oh, okay. So his special gift with the keyboards uh, was what was really appealing. Mhm.
Oh my gosh.
I'm
And
wondering,
even,
Mami Ray. Yes.
okay,
Uh, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
even when the era between the president, era would bring him anywhere he goes. And he's always proud of having my husband. And, and my husband is pinagyayabang niya na magaling yung pinistan niya.
Yeah. In other words, he was a true lover of music as well and of the musical form, no? Mm. Um, I was thinking, there are a lot of young people who are considering a career in singing or in music, and yet uh, I can almost hear some of their parents not being supportive, or because it's such a rarity to hear that parents such as yours and mine were supportive of us when we were starting, when we were choosing what our college degrees would be. But I'm sure so many are being told by their parents, just become a nurse or just become a caregiver. That's all we can afford. And so our heart goes out to so many of them who have the voice, the gift, and the passion. What would be your advice for these young people who are trying to develop their gift, that talent that God gave them?
I would advise them to go on with their even if they are doctors, and even if they become nurses or whatever. They have to take care of their singing talent
Mm.
and go on with their talent because it's a gift from the God.
Indeed, because what gives people joy means it's something the community needs, because people need to have a break from the seriousness of what's going on now. They need to be able to smile. They need to be able to recall their childhood. They need to be able to find hope and identity. And Kundiman does that because it's uniquely Filipino. Mm. Yeah, and if you're good at it the way that you are, you can make a career out of it. So it's something that has your passion, you're good at it, you teach other people with it, the community needs it, and yeah, you could get paid for it. So, and that's no wonder up to now, you're still singing, right? You're still performing. Mm.
At my age, I should have
Yeah.
but I'm old.
Mm.
I'm old. That's medicine. I'm just asking. I'm just asking God not to take over my words.
Oh my. That's wonderful to hear. And if people want to reach out to you, so like, for example, somebody might want to have vocal coaching from you. Is that something that they can avail of? Can they say, go online with you for coaching?
I don't like online teaching. I don't like online. So that's the reason.
Ah, okay. Yeah, I think I understand what you're saying, because there's something lost in translation when it's online, because the sound is somehow different. The timbre is not quite the same. And if you can't be in the same room, it's hard to get the full flavor of what the person is trying to convey with their singing, right? Mm.
And also, you know the positioning of the voice. Maraming bagay na you just have to close the door. For you to know if the voice is in the right position.
Mm.
That's yung ano.
So, Mami Ray, here's a question. For example, if somebody is serious about developing themselves as a singer and would like to be coached by you, I'm fairly sure that you will practice like a social distancing or physical distancing, but you'll be in the same room, right? And with good ventilation. Would that be the scenario?
3 meters away. 3 meters away.
Mm-mm.
But it's online. That's a big moment.
Yeah, I tend to agree, because sometimes when I do coaching for speech contestants, it's this is somehow limiting. This is very limiting. But if I am in the same room, or maybe in the same gym, just to make sure that there's enough ventilation, there's enough air and enough distance, it's easier for me to coach somebody for, say, a campaign or for a speech contest if I can see them live, versus if it's if it's digital like this. Yeah. If people look for you on Facebook, Mami Ray, how will they find you? Uh, what name do you use on Facebook?
I use all my names. Ray Lucero, my mother's family name. Kundiman, my father's family name. And Caballo, my husband's family.
Oh, that's a wonderful decision. Yeah, because that means that when they type all of that, there's only one of you on Facebook. Out of the millions of people on Facebook, there's only one of you. I did the same thing. I changed my identity into Dino Hermosisima Santos, because there's only one of me. When I kept it short, Dino Santos, there were 28 of me. So that makes it convenient. So for our viewers out there, ladies and gentlemen, you've been listening to Mommy Ray, somebody who is proof positive that if your passion is in the arts, if your passion is in singing, that you can find joy and happiness in the journey. And yeah, it might not pay off right away, but you see, fortune tends to follow talent, and you cannot hide that under a bed. It will no doubt shine and touch people's hearts. So look at Mommy Ray. She's in her. Do you mind if you let? Okay, 85. But look how spry she is. She is still full of joy, full of purpose, full of hope. And we who are much younger, especially for our younger viewers out there, if you're in your 20s, please take inspiration from Mommy Ray. Life has not ended just because of this pandemic. You can dream, you can hope, uh, because Mommy Ray has certainly found happiness in her pursuit of success. So it doesn't have to be the pursuit of happiness, but rather it can be happiness in the pursuit, because she found what she loves to do, and up to now she loves doing it. And I don't blame you, because there's so many of them. um, I guess what comes to mind from my memory when I think of Mabuhay Singers is Pamulinawen. Yeah, Pamulinawen. Yes. Yeah, right away. It's and if it's in Cebuano, when you sing some of the Cebuano Kundimans, then let me see. That would be Matudnila.
Yes. Rosas Pandan.
Roses Pandan. That's right. Yeah. So my goodness. So in other words, it is an intrinsic part of our culture. It's an intrinsic part of what makes us unique, of what makes us Filipino. And we should take pride in that, because that musical form exists nowhere else on this planet. And you're certainly part of the ones that help establish it and make it indelible. Hmm.
You know,
Yes.
you
Yes, please.
know, the power of the Mabuhay. You will notice that we don't put so many voices. No, not so many like that, like that. We sing almost always unison. Never be only we sing as simple as that. Just so people can get the melody and learn the song. That's easier. We do not need so many, you know.
Oh, in other words, there's absolutely no need or purpose to say splitting it up into SATB, or soprano, alto, tenor, bass, because it is meant to be easy to sing, meant to be easy to remember. And if I were an OFW and I were feeling homesick, all I have to do is listen to some Kundimans and I will feel I'm back home. Yeah. So Mommy Ray, in behalf of our viewers, in behalf of all the fans of Kundiman and those who hearken back or wish back for more pleasant times before this pandemic, um, thank you. Thank you so much for taking time to be our guest and for reminding us that happiness doesn't end just because there's a virus out there. Happiness is in our soul, it's in our heart. And when we sing, we express it. And I am just so honored to be interviewing you, because I know that the happiness is in you, is in your song,
And
and it's
I forgot there is virus. Um,
Mhm.
Talking about Kundiman and everything. Yeah. And how I wish we could talk more about this. Yeah.
Yeah, so do I. But what I'm really looking forward to is being able to visit you live. You know, when this pandemic is finally over, and then jam with you. You know, sing together with your kids. Be- because that's something that I truly miss. And so, for our viewers out there, ladies and gentlemen, this is just the start of a series in the Leader's Edge, where we will be interviewing leaders in the arts. And Mami Ray is just the tip of the iceberg, because there are others there. Like, for example, in the future, we may be inviting people like Pete Jimenez, who is a leading metal sculptor, who was back in the day vice president of Unitel. And then maybe later on, we'll look into Denkoy Miel, or Prudencio Miel, who became an award-winning editorial cartoonist. If you like this episode, please do click like and subscribe, and do drop a word of encouragement to all artists, especially Mami Ray. You know, say hi to her on Facebook. Please do join us again for episode 7, when we go on a topic called engaging a multi-generational workforce. This will be on February 2022. Our guest then will be a previous visitor, Ruby Jiaoshan, and she will be hosted by one of our new hosts, Sylvia Guluyugo. So as ever, ladies and gentlemen, please remember that learning is a never-ending journey with limitless vistas. Good day.